Welcome to another episode of JC Unplugged, and I'm really excited and happy about our guest this week. It is Rutledge Wood. Now, Rutledge, I'm going to run down your resume, okay? Because people know you from the following. This is long, my friend. Host of Top Gear, host of Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge, host of Floor is Lava on Netflix, sideline reporter for NASCAR. He's a Toyota ambassador, host of Mecham Auctions. He's a race car driver. He's got his own line of soda pop out now. It is Rutledge Wood. Welcome to JC Unplugged.
Oh, JC, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate the laundry list there. It's really silly when you think about it. But, man, what a treat to get to see you. I was here with you a week ago. Now I get to join you again. Thank you for having me.
Dude, I enjoy my coverage of SEMA, but the highlight, we did SEMA Live. This is my second year. My highlight is spending time with you and walking around the Toyota booth and you truly are, you're such a nice guy on camera, but off camera, you are the same exact person. You are one of the sweetest guys I've ever met in this industry. So it's a pleasure to have you on, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you saying that. I think you're one of those people that I feel the same way about. And I think if we put out what we want to get back, everything works way better. So I'm a big believer in that kind of golden rule as my sort of operational point. And man, it's been so great to have you out there with us because SEMA is like it's kind of like the galaxy of cars. Every star, every planet, it's all kind of in one space for 5 days, and it's so much to capture. And y'all do such a great job with that. And just man, I love being here. You and I got to hang out for the kickoff with Toyota. And like I said, I've been an ambassador for them for almost 15 years. I got to go be a pro race car driver this year with them too, which is beyond ridiculous, but
Your
so fun to be out here.
your life is wild. So much to talk about, but let's talk about what you're doing right now because you're here in town with Mecham Auctions, the sign there is
That's
behind
right.
you. How did you get hooked up with Mecham, and what is your role with Mecham Auctions?
So it's funny. I was on Mecham Auctions as kind of, let's call it like a roving reporter, right? We have two hosts at the desk, and then there's usually two or three of us that are kind of bouncing around, highlighting cars, stuff like that. So when they were on NBC Sports, when I was there full time, they were with us, and I got to kind of pop in when I wasn't at other events, and I had so much fun because they first said, like, it's like, JC, you get these invites like, hey, do you want to come do this thing? And you're like, well, yes, I love this. I'll go. So for me, it was kind of like vacation work. Like, yeah, I'll go check out cool cars in the auction. So I had done another auction in Scottsdale in January, this big auction, and I couldn't do any of their other events. They only had two more this year because I was racing. And Mecum heard about that, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to come back and be with us over here on ESPN Plus?" So I said, "Absolutely, I do." So it's been a really fun year when all that kind of lined up, and I got to jump back in. And for me, it's fun because I kind of feel like I didn't miss a beat. I get to hang out with my friends, talk about cars. Our mutual friend Chris Jacobs is out there with me. And today, I mean, every day is exciting, and they're all a little bit different because, regionally there are certain cars that are more kind of prevalent in some areas than others, or certain styles. Like when we were in Texas, in Fort Worth the week before SEMA, it was every third vehicle felt like it was a truck, and they all look cool. And Texas, they build stuff for real, so everything had
Yeah,
like
right.
1,000 horsepower. You're like, okay. But here in Vegas, what's fun is it is weird. I can't lie. To be back in the convention center a week later, and it's just us. As you and I were here last week with
Yes.
thousands of people. Every manufacturer of parts I've ever used is in one space, and now it's like, oh, it's just cool collector cars in the same room. Like it kind of blows your mind. So yeah, it's fun to be back here in Vegas, especially a week later to get to jump in here all over again.
It is wild to see that the convention space when it's empty and there's nothing in there, but it's even crazier. Yeah, 125,000 people I think were here for SEMA, and it's madness. And then SEMA ended Friday at 5 o'clock, and by 5:15, the teardown. I mean, they're tearing stuff down so fast, get everything out of there. They move out fast.
Well, it's unbelievable. You think about every single square inch of this place had a logo, had a sign. Someone was
That's
on a scissor lift hanging those things, JC. I cannot imagine how much work that went in from that moment to then when they showed up here on Monday, it was completely empty, like cleaned out. I bet there was a day in between too.
it's nuts. Let's get into Top Gear because I heard a story, kind of like rumblings of a story. Is it true that you got to Top Gear thanks to, in a roundabout way, the Dukes of Hazzard?
I mean, yeah, yes, is the answer I would say because I snuck my way onto TV from a Craigslist ad, and it ended up being for covering NASCAR, which ultimately was through. Sorry, my mic's being funny. Through
You're good.
GMR marketing, but I found this opportunity through a Craigslist ad, and I showed up, and it was covering NASCAR with the speed stage that would travel around for the speed stage, and I would get people like excited about shows that were coming up, everything else. Well, JC, I kept telling him like I'm here to be on camera. I want to be on TV for you and I think it's going to work. And this guy named Chris Long, we called him Muscles. Chris gave me a shot. He's like, all right, well, you can work. I'll give you a shot, but if you stink, you got to work for me for the rest of the year. And I was like, all right, it's time to bet on myself. I'm in. Let's do it. So one of the first things I did was with John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard, and he came to Atlanta Motor Speedway, my home track, and I spent the whole time riding around in this old Dodge Charger with him and I only called him Bo. I would not refer to him as John Schneider. It was just Bo Duke, me and Bo Duke. And I spent most of the interview questioning the nature of the relationship between him and Daisy Duke. And he would be like, "You mean Catherine Bach?" And I was like, "I don't know who you're talking about. I'm talking about your cousin, Daisy. She has a Jeep and she has an old yellow Charger." And he's like, "Yeah, that no, it's not my first cousin." I was like, "Cool. You guys ever go to dinner or see a movie?" And he just starts laughing. So there was a person who was sitting in the UK, a guy named John Hessling, who was looking at everybody who'd been on TV for cars in like the last 10 years. And he saw this clip that a race fan loaded onto YouTube illegally because Speed Channel didn't really think the internet was going to be like a big thing, which is probably also why they went away. And this race fan load this clip up, John sees it, and then I get a phone call, JC, and I prank called a lot of people in college. So when someone calls me and says, "Hey, I'm from the Central Booking Agency, and I was looking to speak to Rutledge Wood about a TV show," I start laughing, and I was like, "Hey, you got to come up with a better name next time when you prank call somebody." And I hung up on him.
No.
And then JC, thank the Lord, Celia Converse called back and she says, "Let's try this one more time. My name's Celia. I am, in fact, from a company called the Central Booking Agency, which has been around for like 30 years." And I didn't know that. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've insulted your entire company here." And she said, "The BBC hired me to find you. I think I found you. Can we have a conversation without you hanging up on me?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry. I was a real idiot in college. Like, I just started the apology tour." And JC, that was the conversation that started the whole thing. So thank goodness she called back. And I still can't believe it. So the whole time I never thought, like, when they mentioned, "Oh, it's for Top Gear," there's no chance I'm going to get this. I'm just a dude from Alabama, lives in Georgia now, likes cars and wants to be on TV. I'm not going to get this. So at no point did I ever, I think, feel like this is mine. I was like, the pressure's off. I'm not going to get it. I'll just have as much fun as I can. And I think that was probably the key to it because eventually when they called after, it was like a year and a half process. Each time I would be in LA covering NASCAR out at Fontana, they would say, "Oh, why don't you come by? We'll do some stuff." Okay. So I kept like auditioning, not realizing those were auditions. I just thought I was going to
Oh,
talk to
yeah.
people. It's a totally different vibe. And then one day they were like, "Hey, we need your lawyer's information in case we want to make you an offer." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I don't have that on me. Let me get that and I'll call you back." And they're like, "Great." So I called my friend Kyle Petty, who has become one of my best friends at this point, and I said, "When they say lawyer, do they mean like the people on TV who say like it's my money and I need it now?" He's like, "They don't mean JG Wentworth. No, they mean like an entertainment lawyer." And like I
Uh,
don't know what those things are. I have no idea. So he's like, call them back, give them this guy's number. He'll take care of everything. I'll call and line it up. I was like, great. So this guy that I had never met, Bill, negotiated my first contract. It was
no,
like
really?
yeah, it's like a 5-year deal, and he did it all for me because Kyle told him to. Like, just what a sweetheart of a guy. So I just want you to know, my whole career has felt like moments like that where I somehow get this opportunity, and then because of friends and everything else, I get my foot in just far enough in the door where then it's like, "Oh, okay, what do you got?" And it has been insane since then.
Well, was that always? And I think it's because it's your personality, and you shine when you walk into a room. You've got this big energy about you. You're warm and inviting. So I think once you get in that room, you're going to be fine. It's just getting that door open and stepping in. But was that always like growing up? Was that always the goal to be this TV character, this car character? Was that always the goal growing up?
I think it might have been, and thank you for the sweet words. I think like I would go to bed on Saturday nights dreaming about being on Saturday Night Live with Chris Farley, and then I would wake up on Sunday morning, and before church we would watch CBS Sunday Morning, which I still think might be the greatest show on television. And there was a guy on there named Bill Geist, who is Willie Geist on the Today Show. It's his dad, and Bill would go and interview the most peculiar people, but he would never make them feel bad for being into like growing the biggest pumpkin or being the artisanal pencil sharpener or whatever. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing that like, oh, we can all be different and weird and whatever, and we can celebrate those and we can have fun, but we don't have to make fun in that space. And I think those kind of things all combined. And I just had this dream like, yeah, I think I can make the most people smile at once by doing television. And that's the best way. But when I was leaving college, I said I'm going to give this a shot, and if it works, cool, and if not, I'll go back to school and I'll be a teacher, and I'll try it that way. But it has thus far worked.
Oh, it's incredible. But the doors keep opening for you, which I love. Like, how did the whole Hot Wheels thing come? Because I remember I was at it was one morning I turned on, it was the Today Show, and they had you on in studio the Today Show talking about the Hot Wheels show and everything. And I'm like, this looks like an awesome show. How did the whole Hot Wheels TV show come to be? Was that just
Well,
because of your
man,
work on Top Gear?
I think so. Like a lot of things lead to other things. So when I got the opportunity for Top Gear, I met a lot of different people in production there. So then somehow my name gets brought up for this show called Hyperdrive that ended up on Netflix. And I had told those producers like 2 years before, this sounds like a dream come true. It was like Top Gear meets American Ninja Warrior, but I just didn't think anyone would ever give them enough money to make the show. And I basically said, like, look, I think it's going to be almost impossible, but if anyone ever gives you the money to pull this off, please call me. I would love to be there. And they called me 2 years later. And so I was like, oh man, this is amazing. So I meet somebody there who says, hey, you'd be really great for this other show, or like, we want to do another project with you. Netflix gave me a budget and said, let's go shoot a pilot. Who do you want to work with? And I was like, I want to work with John Hessling, the first guy that I worked on Top Gear with, who chose me. So he and I, we go shoot this kind of sizzle for a show called American Barbecue Showdown. Well, then we start to do, I get a call. I'm working on my deck. I'm replacing boards on my deck, and I get a call, and they say, my agent said, hey, there's a show called The Floor is Lava. And I was like, yes, absolutely. They're like, do you want to know anything about it? I was like, no, I played this as a kid, whatever it is, I'm in. And I tried this weird thing, JC, where I was like, tell them I'll do it, but they have to pick up the other show because they had like purchased this pilot for American Barbecue Showdown, but they had not gone into production. And my agent was like, "This isn't American Pickers. You can't like bundle a deal." And I was like, "Look, I don't live in LA. I'm just telling you this is how I would do it. Let's try it." And he calls back and he's like, okay, they said yes. So then all of a sudden I get this. Well, it's like one person that had been in each of those productions somehow was someone was at NBC, and I had finished all of my big NBC, like I've done Olympics and Kentucky Derby and NASCAR. It was an 8 year run, and I'd still be there. They just finances are hard in cable these days, and networks are
Hmm.
kind of struggling. So they're like, hey, we love you. We just don't have the money for you right now. It's like, I get that. So that was the end of 22. And beginning of 23, they called and they're like, hey, there's this show some people are working on. We thought you might be good for it. Do you want to talk to some people? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I love Hot Wheels. They are like the through point of my life because my earliest childhood memories, and you may be the same, was like playing with a Hot Wheels,
Yes.
right? Like it's always how I've just thought about everything in those terms. So at first they had wanted me to be a judge on the show, and they were trying to get some really, really big names. And I was like, that's awesome. I hope that works out. But just so you know, like I still have the quilt that my parents just gave me. That was what I played with as a kid with all my Hot Wheels on it. My lifelong dream is to have my own Hot Wheels. So if this works out, just know that I'm in. And they're like, okay. So I don't hear anything for like 3 weeks, and they call back and they're like, okay, um, we want you to host the show instead of just judge it because we listened to everything you said. It really like this. You're not kidding. You're here because of Hot Wheels. And I was like, yes, I absolutely am because I'm a dreamer in Alabama. We didn't have the kind of cars that we could see, but I could see them on Hot Wheels. So I think when they called, I think I had another 3 weeks, and then I had to be in the UK for 2.5 months. So it was crazy because also like I had to leave on my youngest daughter's birthday in February that year. And then I'm just plucked out of my life and dropped into the UK and living in Manchester, England. and then I'm doing the show, which turned out to be this just beautiful emotion that people shared. Because, it's all about picking a car from someone's youth, and then we basically turn it into a life-size version of a Hot Wheels. Because JC,
Mhm.
that a Hot Wheels has so much more detail than most cars on the street, right? They are larger than life, even though they're 1/64th scale. And it was just turns out like time of my life. What an amazing thing! And now it's like funny because it's kind of become full circle. I'm shooting a new show that I started on Monday, and it's a show with Bear Grylls. He and I are doing a show together called Adventure Garage. And the funny thing is, his production company is owned by the group that did all the production in the UK for the Hot Wheels show. So when I got to like handpick some of the people that I wanted on this build show, I was like,
Yeah.
I want these people, I want these people, and they're like, okay, this works great. So now I'm getting to shoot a show in the US with my friends from the UK. It's like just all of these weird things. So I think I'm very fortunate to be in places and put in rooms where I get to celebrate the other people that are there. Because I've tried to tell my kids, like, I think I'm good on camera. I think I'm better off camera, and I'm probably a better teammate than I am a standalone. And I think that's a really great thing. And I just try to have a lot of gratitude for that and the people that put me in those right places. And this feels like the most perfect example of that because all it really happened because of one of my best friends, a guy named Chuck Flanagan, had a friend that was going to like put this show together, and Chuck was like, Rut would like be the perfect tie-in to loop all of these things together. He's the guy, and I wouldn't be doing it without him. So man, I just don't know. I don't know how I keep getting these amazing opportunities, but I'm so thankful and excited about all of them. And even like when I heard, hey, do you want to be on JC's show? Absolutely. They're like, can you get to the studio at the crack of dawn? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if I can, but I will do anything I can to be
You
on there. So
did that, but that's you though. You're so. I mean, I keep going back to. You're so kind, and you. I mean, you put just such good energy out there into the universe, and I believe in that stuff. You're putting out these
thank
good
you, brother.
vibes, this good energy, and it comes back to you.
Well, I
Eh,
think you do that in a beautiful way. I've been lucky enough to watch a bunch of your stuff, and you get to go to all these different events and places. And ultimately, our job is to tell stories. And I think that's
mhm.
what makes Mecum special is we're telling stories of a person who brought a car here and the time and the effort that they put in, but we're also telling the story of the person that just bought it and said, I've been dreaming about this Supervert or this Charger, Camaro, or Supra, whatever it is for my whole life, and now this moment came together and I got to be here and do it. And I think that's really what makes these things so special.
Well, so how do you introduce yourself? Because I always, someone might be joining us right now. I'm like, this is Rutledge Wood. He's a car personality. He's a car host. How do you describe yourself, like in one sentence? You are Rutledge Wood is car personality, TV superstar. How do you describe yourself to people when they ask what
I
you do?
I think I usually just say like, oh, I'm a car guy that's in TV and a proud father. Like I got 3 girls. That's the best thing
Yes.
about me. I'm lucky to be employed, but those girls are my whole world. And so I don't know, because also it's like a weird thing. Keep in mind, I spent 20 years covering NASCAR and trying to tell fun stories and make that sport as cool as it is. And then the biggest thing I've ever done is host this insane obstacle course show called The Floor is Lava, where people are trying to stay out of liquid hot molten lava that when they drop in they disappear. So like every child when that show came out, and I know it came out in a year where a lot of people were home and watching TV. It comes out in June of 2020, Father's Day weekend, and I remember like waking up and it goes to number 1 and then it went to number 1 again and it just kept happening day after day and I was like, "What just happened?" JC got 38 million viewers the first month. I don't know if you take
What?
everything I've ever done cumulatively and you get anywhere near that, but that was just the first month. We went on to be number 7 for Netflix Global for 2020. In the year where everyone was home, that was the number 7 show, and it was one of the highest TV shows. A lot of the others were movies and kind of franchises that existed. So now it's funny that I don't even know how to explain. I'm just like, I'm TV guy, car guy,
No,
dad.
wait, you were in 2020. You were that's the same year as what's that? The Tiger King, right?
Oh, I think it was. Yeah, yeah. I do think that was higher. As it should have been. What a train wreck. I
People love
mean,
that stuff.
gosh,
But it
Tiger
is too.
King.
You
I
see that
totally
too.
forgot about that.
I hear that too, and I love the fact that you're such a loving father as well. And you talk about your daughters in interviews and post some pictures and stuff, and you're a very proud father, which
They're
I
making
think
my
is
beard turn gray. rapidly.
Yeah, Rudd is only 22 years old. This
Yeah,
gray is coming in
this
pretty.
was brown like 4 days ago. They just keep, gosh, it's making me crazy.
I got about 2 minutes here, but I mean, I
Okay,
literally
great.
got like pages of stuff I want to talk to you about, but I got to
Please,
start to
I'll
wrap
stop.
up. But
I'm rambling.
no, I love this, but I do want the. How did you get your own soda line? Is it Fun Time
Oh,
Sodas?
yeah, Fun Time Soda Pop. So my youngest daughter, Hattie, is really allergic to dyes and fake colors and stuff. And so I was trying to think, I've got Elsie, Millie, and Hattie. They're 17, 15, and 11, respectively. And I was trying to think, I want to make something fun that they can drink and their friends could drink. And at first I started with an energy drink, and then I realized, like, oh, I don't want my kids drinking energy drinks. That was a bad idea. What can I make? I thought, oh, what if I made soda that was just fruits and like pure cane sugar, and that was it. And so that was where my starting point was. And so me and a friend got together, and that's what we have. So Fun Time Soda Pop. It's available on Amazon Prime now, which is huge. And it's really fun. We have Chillin' Cherry, Groovy Grape, Orange Creamsicle, and then Blue Raz, which is blueberries and raspberries. And it's been great so far. It's really tasty. I gotta get you some. I'll send you
Yeah,
some.
I got to
I promise.
try it. I got to try it. Well, Rod, thank you so much for doing this. And it's funny. I was telling my wife about you, and from the first time we met at SEMA, and then she asked me when I was going into SEMA year 2, what was I looking forward to doing? And I'm like, I hope I get to do a segment with Rut. And I got my schedule, and you and I were on day 1, and it was awesome. And my wife, I got home that night. She's like, well, how was everything? How was Rut? I'm like, he's fantastic. And I told her a story, that a little tiny thing. I think this says so much about you. We're standing there getting ready to go on SEMA Live, and there's chaos in the background and everything. And you're like, hold on one second. And you look at me, and I had like a little piece of lint or something. He's like, hold on a second, buddy. There was something on my shirt. And you
Right.
took it off. And you're like, yeah. I'm like, what was it? You're like, I don't know. It's not there anymore. And it was just like a little nuance that you did. It's like, we're about to go on TV. It's something on my shirt. And you had the kind courtesy to like pick it off my shirt. Like, yeah, you're good now. And dust me off. And we went and did our thing. And it's a little thing, but I think it says so much about you that you're always looking out for others in your life.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I think you're one of those guys that you want to help other people shine. And so I think you deserve that same thing back. And man, you do such a great job. And I know you're going to continue to get more and more opportunities to show the world how good you are at that. But more than anything, I just appreciate the kindness, because there's a lot of people in lots of different industries that don't get this opportunity, and they don't show up with joy every day like
Hmm.
you do. And man, it makes such a difference when you have people that echo that and bring that up. And I'm a big believer that a rising tide raises all ships. So I'm happy to be in this water with you, brother. I appreciate you.
I Oh, good, Brett. So good, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You have to come back on again because, again,
Yes,
pages of stuff to get to. I
I
need a
would love
longer
to.
show. All
Anytime,
right,
and you
man.
got to come out here and join us for Mecham sometime. I'd love to have you out. Let's make it happen.
Deal. Deal. I appreciate it, brother. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining
See you
JC
next time.
Unplugged. That's Rutledge Wood. Thank you, guys.